Okay. It says it's starting. Here we go. Old man and new technology. I wasn't even planning on making a video or doing anything, but I was sitting here and contemplating things. You know, I look at how people look at me from their perspective, and I know I'm an old man, not full of much pep and vinegar, it seems like. And I got my little friend here, kind of like a snake, you know. No, I don't show no emotion. I don't show that. I do, not behind here, I guess. But actually, I am kind of old. I'm in a good mood. Not, I don't want people to take this wrong, but I'm in a good mood because some of the things I've been thinking, I just seen come to fruition, and like we're ecstatic, but not. I don't want you to take this wrong because this is who I am, I guess. I got to witness someone that is pure love and light and joy and spreading the there's nothing wrong in this world. You just wave your little magic wand and all the things in the world are going to disappear. It's going to be happy. And I just witnessed he blew a gasket. That's the only way I can put it. Now, I feel bad for that individual. I'm not relishing in the thought of, oh, ho, 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 he got his, whatever. And I really got thinking about this. And what I want to do is this kind of explains a little bit how I am. When I do a rune reading, I use cards. And a couple of the cards, one is, I'm sorry about the glare, it's Dari and Darod. Okay? They're dwarfs and dark elves, which that's a part of our subconscious in the Norse mythology. That's what they represent. If you think about the Lord of the Rings, there was the elves, the dwarfs, humans, the hobbits were in there, different races. They represent things. Dwarves are our lower emotion. Elves are our logic that's higher up. And what them cards represent is one is spear and the other is conflict. And what happens is when people get into a conflict or that, they go into two different modes. And if you ever remember the movie Mask with Jim Carrey, the mask he would put it on, become. And what happens is we put these masks on, and we become an alter ego. We become defensive. We become whatever. We become somebody who is not who we are in the inside, just for survivability. If you think of a castle, when they were under siege, they bring the walls up, the gates up, they put the archers up, they bring out the catapults. It's a war. This represents a war within ourselves. And when I say I'm a shadow worker, a shadow dragon, I have love and light in me. I do. I also have darkness in me, and somewhere in between is, like I says, where we find life. And it doesn't matter if you're running around, oh, life is good, have a happy life, nothing's going to touch you, just put up your if you're an alcoholic, if you're a drug addict, if you are got anger management problems, there's all these issues out there. Gambling. In all reality, they're just a mask. They're just a mask for who you really are. And I posted a couple things. You don't know who you are until you face your own darkness. And for many years, I was living how somebody wanted me to be, or I didn't want to be like this person, so I was opposite of that person. That wasn't who I am. That's not who I was. I was wearing all these different masks. I was a biker for a while, had the leather and the Harley. I love riding. Still got my Harley. I don't need to pretend I'm a biker, but that was an image to protect something inside. And I'll tell you this right now, you're going to laugh. Most bikers down inside, true bikers, they will do anything for everybody. And I'll just use them as an example. You know, they maybe in their childhood, whatever, and they find brotherhood and camaraderie and that within that group, so they form and then they put on the mask of we're tough guys, but a lot of them inside are really soft, and that's what I mean by wearing a mask. So I'm not relishing in the meltdown of an individual, and as like I put on there, it's why did he have the meltdown in the first place? Because he's been wearing a mask because he didn't want to face the issues. And that confirms more and more, and stuff just pops up, that people don't want to face who they really truly are, or the problems that are really underlying. And today, someone posted something and I replied, to get to the top of the tree of life in shamanism, you have to go through the roots. You know, the deeper the roots, the taller the tree. And if you think about that, they say that just as much as above the ground of a tree is below it. And what I do in my practice in that is, it's not, people may take it negative, and when I say that the runes don't lie, they don't. They tell you what's wrong. They'll tell you what's good. Hey, you know, you're changing. You are inging. You are changing. They tell you the positive things. But in order to grow, you need to look at the bad stuff, the negative stuff. Why you act this way. You know, why when you see a certain individual act a certain way, it just makes you mad. It's not that you got mad. It's why. And that's what I do. I use the runes in that to help you find who you are inside. A lot of people, you know, I say it's not who you are that's important, it's what you are. And what you are inside has been hidden under masks. I heard someone say one time, you know, a sweater of shame. We wear coats, we put things on because we've been shamed into this. Oh, you know, what's grandma going to think? So you have to, if you know, or what's mom going to think? What's the neighbors going to think? So you have to become somebody you're not. And what I do when I read the runes or do shamanic journeys, and I do them different than a lot of people. The ones that have had them, they loved them because they take an active part in it. They get to see, and they get to, I'll give you an example, I'll give you a couple, so you people that understand it. I've worked with a couple of people that have had issues, you know, drug issues, addiction issues, a bunch of others. We sat and we talked. We've read the runes a couple times, tell them they need to change this. This is what the runes said, you know, is working against them. This is what's working for them. One of them, they follow, and it doesn't happen just like that. Okay? And I just looked on, I've mentioned this before, people that go into rehab, and this came from a doctor's mouth too. Less than 3% of them complete it. Or, I'm sorry, 60% of them, less than 60% complete it. And out of that, less than 3% of them get cured. They get put on other drugs, they go back, they're in and out of jail. there's something wrong. Well, what I do with the runes and the system and working the rune wheel, it don't happen overnight, but you gotta want to change. You gotta say, I want to find out what the problem is, and I'll be upfront with you. The problem is you don't want to face yourself. I don't want to face myself. I don't. It's hard. But I can tell you this from experience, the more you shed off, the more you face yourself, the more you become you, things don't, the key word is today, trigger you. We throw all these cliches out there. But getting back to that, the one individual took on a couple journeys, seen some things. I seen what I seen, kind of did what we did, come back, started talking, and after I explained the journey and the symbolisms, kind of laughed and chuckled at herself, yeah. But this person applied. I did the same thing with another person, read the runes a couple times, give them some advice. They decide they want to go on a journey, put them on a journey. I don't like talking about, clients and stuff, but I won't name names, but they come into a situation where they were in a maze, kept getting lost in the maze. And symbolically, an eagle come down, an owl come down, picked them up and showed them they were in the maze, which way to go, put them back. They decided to go not to the happy hunting grounds, the nice fields and that. They decided to go the other way toward the spooky side, saw a reflection in the mirror or in the water. It got them going out the tunnel. They seen stuff, sat down, discussed it, and said, okay, you're in a maze right now. You don't know which way to turn. You don't know who to follow. The owl signifies wisdom. You know what's going on. You know exactly. There's two choices ahead of you. This way or that way. Make a long story short, they did not apply or did not want to change, and right now they're in a bad situation. In jail, back into the drugs, all kinds of stuff. I can't change you. You have to want to change yourself. And that is what I do. And that's why I'm giving these little one rune readings on Wednesday nights, so people can start to understand how the runes work, what the philosophy is. And if you know somebody that might benefit from this and they want to give it a try, share it, pass it on. If you like what I'm saying, share it, pass it on. But I'm going to be honest. Like I said, I'm honest as I can be. I can't fix you. I can help you. The runes can help you. The shamanic journeys can show you what you need to do, whether you decide to do it or not. And it all starts with what masks you're wearing, why am I wearing them, and the system I use, the rune wheel, I still use it. Not every day, but I'll sit there and I'll chant the runes. And I'm not lying. I'll come on a rune. I'll be going around the rune circle and I'll get to it. What's next? Going around. After about 4 times, I can't even picture in my mind. Sometimes I literally got to go look it up. That's the rune. That's what I need to work on. But the more times you work yourself around the rune realm and the runes and the wheel, you start going deeper and deeper and deeper. People want to cure, let's just say, their alcoholism or drug addiction, in 2 days, 3 days. You got to get to the root of it, and get to the root of it, you got to build yourself up. You just can't go to it because you're bypassing other issues that will just drag you back into the circle. I've given advice to some people, and they'd say, I'll see you in a couple weeks. And I said, no, what I gave you, you'll be working on for, 6 months. And because it takes a while to break old habits and change new thoughts. Uh, Again, I'm not relishing in anybody's demise or that, but that just what I seen today confirms that people. I know a person doesn't run around. Oh, I'm all love and light and unicorn dust and all that. But as soon as that person walks into the room, there's like a peace, a calm. That person knows who they are. They're calm. They're loving. They're gentle. They're kind. That person, I would say, is probably an ancient soul that has come here to just show people who they are. You can be happy. And so all these, that's I guess that's one of the little pet peeves. And too many people, it's emotional. People are using the emotions, and then they're blaming someone for making them that way, and that's called victim mentality. And we get into that, in all reality, how you look at a situation, what you allowed, what you did that. I allowed myself to be, I'll say, controlled because of that's the way I was upbringed. What would grandma think? What would grandpa think? What would you need to do this. This will make you happy. And I'm doing all these things that I'm told are going to make me happy. And it's giving me more questions. And these people that are telling me it's going to make me happy, I'm looking at them and how can you be happy and doing this? And it was a big mask. It took me many years to start shucking the mask. I understand I'm not overly joyous in that, but that comes back to who we are. I look at the reality of things. And when I'm doing this, how can I be happy knowing there's so many people out there with masks on? And then I understand what you're going to say. Well, it's not your problem. It's not your problem. You're right. It's not my problem if they're not happy. But part of me inside, who I am, understands that what's going out there on a mass scale. I say there's forces that want to help us. There's forces that want to hurt us. And it seems right now the forces that want humanity not to grow, not to emerge, not to do this, they're winning. And, there's a balance. It'll tip one way or another sooner or later. And all the love and the light and being good, when you see someone tip the mask a little bit to what they're hiding, everybody talks about the great ascension and spiritual awakening. All we need to do is look at ourselves, find out who we are, and we'll awaken. We'll awaken to the fact that we're trained. But the way things are going, I wasn't planning on doing anything tonight. Just popped in my mind. Like I said, I'm looking at probably maybe next Thursday, a little later in the evenings, have a topic for discussion. And that's why I went on live now. Somebody want to come in and talk, but so what I'm saying is, you can set your thing for notifications when I go live, and if who knows when I'm going to do it. I might do it Friday afternoon sometime. Try to get some things going here. If you kind of like what I do, like what I think, if you got any questions or know someone that has been trying to kick a habit, or they're in depression or anxiety and they've been going to therapists for a long time, and things don't seem to work, this is an older way. Get in touch with me. I'd appreciate it. If you like this, like it, thumbs it up, share it. I guess maybe the more I get on here and do this, I'll find my little quirks where I can be happy and all joyous and that. But right now I'm just focused on what's going through me, and I appreciate the ones that showed up last night for the rune reading. Looking forward to do that again. So for now, me and my friend, thank you. If you watch this, I really appreciate it. And I know that when I hit this thing, I'm learning this too. When I hit this thing, the camera stays on for about 15 seconds. So I have to wait here and just decide. I don't have no background music for you to listen to. So, till next time.